Hi everyone. Well, if you've been following my videos recently, I've been on this quest to try and break 100 miles an hour with a foam park jet like this one using a quad racing motor. So anyway, unfortunately, my first build, which was kind of the orange, green, and white one, I lost that on a 4S run. The prop nut came loose and obviously I lost power and then didn't do a very good job of dead sticking it in, and it met its maker. So anyway, I built this second one here with very subtle changes. But unfortunately, I think my choice in finish actually made the plane slower. Doh! So anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit about that and maybe some thoughts moving forward. And the reason that I think it's slower, it's actually a half an ounce lighter than the previous one, and I was focused on keeping it light by essentially this color scheme. If you watch the previous video about it, which I'll have linked down below, I just used magic marker. Now, in the areas where the paper is left on the Dollar Tree foam or the Adams Ready board, it's actually quite smooth because it's been treated with oil-based Minwax to keep it waterproof before I put the color on. So this is actually very, very smooth. But you know, just by putting marker on there, I'm not really filling in any of those little you know, minute dimples and bumps and things like that on the raw foam. You know, even after I've sanded it. So I think that, you know, when I look at it, you know, especially even back here, I know it's going to be very hard for you to see on the camera, but you know, here on the Depron, you know, I can actually feel that that's still fairly rough. And comparing it with other planes that I have painted, even when I put the paint on really thin and really light, I think that the paint helps to fill in all those little nooks and crannies and valleys and all that sort of stuff, and makes it a lot smoother. So anyway, bit dopey, I guess, on my part there. But I can feel, unfortunately, my mini GPS data logger, I've had 2 sessions with this plane now, 2 different days. I've got close to 30 flights on it now. It's flying just absolutely awesome, but I do notice that it is a bit slower, you know, just even with my naked eye. My mini GPS data logger here has kind of, I don't know if it's completely calved it, but it's not, it's certainly not working that accurately. So I'm going to have to continue to play around with that and see if I can't do, during today's session, I flew it on 3S, and over 6 flights I averaged anywhere from lowest 69 up to 159. So I think it's faster than 69, but it's certainly not as fast as 159. The other thing that I was experimenting with, this is the RC Speedo app that this is an Android phone. I downloaded it a long time ago from I think from the Google store. You do have to pay a couple bucks for it. It essentially just works on you know, Doppler shift. You set your phone up, you set the phone up to listen, and then it just records the sort of the Doppler shift as the plane goes by through the microphone of the phone. So today I wasn't getting a whole lot of what I thought was really accurate, and it was logging speeds like you know, every 10 to 15 seconds. And I think what it was doing was it was picking up maybe some echoes off of all the trees. Unfortunately, my field is surrounded by trees, and I had it sitting on a lawn chair out at the field, so it was only maybe a couple feet off the ground. So I don't know, maybe it was also picking up some sound being bounced off the ground. So what I'm going to do is, this camera that I'm talking to right now is actually sitting on a pedestal, or a tripod I mean, and it's about 4 feet or so off the ground, maybe even a little higher. So I think what I'm going to do is experiment with this some more and put it on top of the tripod and have it sort of sitting, you know, right beside me, maybe a little bit ahead of me when I do those high-speed passes. You do get your best accuracy, you know, as low and as close to the phone as you can get with this thing. So anyway, so that's another thing I'm going to experiment with. But if I can't figure out a way to you know, to sort of anywhere near ballpark accurately clock my speed, then it's kind of a bit of a moot point. So there are some things that I could probably do with this airframe right now to squeeze some more speed out of it. Fortunately, I've had some great tips and input from XDM Toter, LGel, and Bogus Bandit 56 from the RC Powers forum. So lots of great things to think about. I could, excuse me, probably painting this fuselage would definitely smoothen that a little bit. Also, XDM Toter shared with me putting packing tape, maybe on, like he's built a wing shaped speed plane that he's covered in packing tape, and he said it's made a huge difference in the speed. So I could probably put that on the KF airfoil, maybe on the back here, or do some painting on the raw foam. But I think actually what I'm going to do is, until I get this speed thing sorted out, being able to clock my speed, is I'm just going to leave this plane the way that it is right now, because it's really, really locked in solid. Like, it's even more tight than the previous one I built, which I thought was really locked in. I mean, this is the 4th modified SU-30 version 4 that I've built, so hopefully you would think I would get the build right, even though I screwed up on the finish, which I think is, slowed my plane down. But whatever. I love flying this plane, and it'll be a great plane to just really hammer around over the summer. So what I think, what I'm going to probably do now is I'm going to probably put this on the back burner for a little bit, for a while, now that summer hopefully is here for good, where I live on the west coast of Canada, and then maybe revisit it towards the fall, because I like to fly, and I've got lots of other summer things to do. So what I'm thinking is, based on some input that I've had from those 3 gentlemen I mentioned, is I'll build it. I'll go back old school, back in the height of the Cold War, when the U.S. and the USSR were kind of facing off against each other with the F-15 Streak Eagle. I think it was called the Streak Eagle, and the MiG-25 Foxbat. Trying to beat each other's speed records and altitude records and all that sort of stuff. So I'm gonna approach my next build with the goal of trying to break that 100-mile-an-hour mark if I can get something sorted out. So what I'll do is I'll probably just build a completely stripped down version. I'll go same sort of size. I'll build it with Dollar Tree foam again. I'll go with elevons only. By saving, that'll save me probably close to an ounce in weight, with the not having aileron and rudder servos, as well as the drag of the push rods and the servos and all that sort of stuff. The other thing that I will probably do is I will reduce the height of the KF4 airfoils. I still want to have those on there for stability, especially when we start cranking on some speed. So what I might do is, I have some 3mm Depron, so rather than using the paperless Dollar Tree foam, which is about 4.5 millimeters, I'll probably use a 3mm Depron, which will reduce the profile, the front profile of the wing, by about 3 millimeters, and also hopefully help reduce some drag over the wing. I'll probably experiment with tape on that part. Again, because I'll have the paper on back here, I won't have the ailerons. I'll still treat it with Minwax. So I think that where the paper is left on the Dollar Tree foam is still pretty smooth. What I may also do, Bogus Bandit 56 recommended perhaps using 3mm Depron with some paper for stiffening. I'll have to see what sort of products I have available to me. What I may do is, I'll still probably build the nacelles out of Depron, just so that I have that that longitudinal strength over the length of the plane. But what I might do is, I'll make these vertical stabilizers out of Dollar Tree foam, because I'm going to save myself like a millimeter and a half in width on the vertical stabilizers. I'll probably also do the same thing, make the elevons out of Dollar Tree foam. I may just cut these booms off there as well. I don't really, I'm not too worried about the scale police when I'm just trying to see a specific number of for speed. I've already got this one, which looks, I must say that actually this paint scheme looks, or paint scheme, I guess, with magic marker. I'm pretty impressed with how it looks in the air. It looks really good. So I'm happy with that. So yeah, so those are some things that I'm thinking about. Again, you know, using the same power setup, this GEP RC. You know, I may experiment some more with maybe some more props. It runs really well with this King Kong 6040, although it runs pretty hot compared to the 6x3 EMP. So yeah, so there's where we have it, folks. You know, again, just like crashing the first one because I didn't tighten the prop down enough. It's self-induced pain here, but it's, you know, I look at it as it's you know, I've got a pretty awesome plane here to fly, even if this is not the one that's going to get me to 100 miles an hour. And you know, and because of the input I've had from those gentlemen, and I'm sure other people hopefully will chime in with some ideas. You know, maybe down the road, after putting this project on the back burner for a while, I'll build that you know, stripped down, super light, super fast, super sleek version, and see if we can't actually break 100 miles an hour. So anyway, so there we go, folks. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks again to XDM Toter, LGel, and Bogus Bandit 56 for their input. It's given me lots of things to think about. So like I said, I'll take some time here, just fly, see if I can't get some way to clock the speeds of my planes more accurately sorted out, and just fly the wings off this thing for the summertime, and then maybe revisit my 100-mile-an-hour project a little bit later on. So thanks for watching. Blue skies, calm winds to everyone. Park jet noise. Yeah, the sound of freedom, baby. Take care.